And welcome back. So the National Student Financial Aid Scheme with us this morning because they say that they have successfully now cleared the 1.2 billion rand in payments backlog. And this after the Minister of Higher Education and Training, Naledi Pandor, ordered that Nasfas clear the 2017-18 applications and funding backlogs first before taking on new applications due to the serious delays in funding of students at TVET colleges and universities in 2017 and 2018. And now Nasfas students are urged to sign their outstanding bursary agreements to ensure that their 2019 applications and the process that goes along with that proceeds smoothly when the system opens for next year's applications. And applications open on Monday, that's this coming Monday, the 3rd of September. So to discuss this issue further, we join now by the NSFAS Administrator, Dr. Randall Carolissen. Thanks so much for coming through.
Thanks for having me.
So the last time when I was speaking to Minister Naledi Pandor, we were still talking about a backlog. That was some 10 days ago or so. And now, good news, because we understand you have cleared the backlog.
Well, look, it's been an interesting 8 days. We haven't completely cleared the backlog, but we have made put in substantive administrative efforts to begin to clear it. So I'll give you some stats in a minute. So paying the money to the university is one thing. To actually provide them with the remittances as to where the money must go to the different students, it's another thing. So that's always been a problem, that we threw the money over the fence to the universities and then they have to battle to get to the students. So we're fixing that up. Since the minister announced, since we persuaded her to open 2019, because we had to persuade her on progress, we have paid out the latest figures, 30,000 students we touched yesterday, between yesterday and this morning. And there's still a number of students that we need to touch, but the processes are now beginning to run much more smoothly. We are, of course, faced with challenges with regards to data integration and data integrity, so there's a lot of manual checking that needs to happen. And therefore, we urge students to finalize and make sure that the contact details are absolutely correct. Because if it's correct, the money will go. But we can't pay into a void or into wrong accounts. And that slows it down quite a bit. But happy to report that our people are working around the clock to fix that.
So speaking of people working around the clock, it's been impressive the sort of progress you have made over the last 10 days or so. But do you have sufficient capacity to tackle the issues that still need to be addressed?
Well, look, I will be getting some experts on board in the next 10 days to assist, some IT and data integration experts. And they'll be working with the current staff. I must say that the current staff has responded magnificently. When I arrived at NSFAS, people were very demoralized. It's not nice to know that you're not doing your job properly and everybody is screaming for your head. And I think to get them back onto track, we did a number of things. So first of all, we, of course, reminded them about the important mission that they have in South Africa. And the main thing also then is we then deployed a lot of our staff to the institutions. And that had two purposes. It gave them direction. And secondly, they could work very closely with institutions to sort out some of these niggling and ongoing account issues. And that is the model I think that we need to go for in the future, that we are much closer to the institutions and to the students.
So you have, for example, UNISA students. They always complain that they are always forgotten, left on the periphery. Yeah. Everybody else is prioritized. How does this affect them? Well,
we sent a team to UNISA, and they did a marvelous job. In fact, so much so, we know what the backlog is at the moment based on the data integration report that I received. But when we actually went there, we discovered 40,000 extra students that were not on the system. So as we go and clean up databases and stuff, we find extra students. So initially, I thought that the ballpark figure is about 100,000 students that were backlogged. But we're already at 150 as we start to clean up accounts. That's not necessarily negative, because we are establishing very good relationships with the universities, and the cooperation is just fantastic from the university managements, the management, as well as the SRC. In fact, I'm speaking later today to the SRC leadership of the national leadership, and they've been absolutely superb coming to the party and bringing the students in and persuading them to sign their contracts. So the partnerships have been, I hope that we can strengthen and deepen on that, because it's working very well.
Right, I'm in conversation with Dr. Randall Carolissen, and he's of course the administrator at Nasfas, the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, and addressing the backlog as instructed by the Minister of Higher Education, Naledi Pandor, that they need to address that backlog before they take on the new applications for 2019, and that season opens on Monday. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we continue with this conversation. And welcome back in conversation with NSFAS Administrator Dr. Randall Carolissen. Now, I was just reading some of the messages coming through, and, you know, on social media, some of the parents saying thank you because it seems as though the payments have come through. Very often, Dr. Carolissen, we don't understand just how important and how dependent the students are on these funds from NSFAS. What have you picked up in this instance as someone who has been involved with this in other roles as well?
Well, look at my role at WITS. We're acutely aware of the difficulties the students face. They can't even go home after classes. They have to sleep in libraries because they don't have money to come back tomorrow to school. They are hungry. They can't pay for the accommodation. So it's a real hardship, and that's why we have to fix it. There's just no other option. We have to fix it. But if I can guide some students as to how we can make their lives a little bit easier, so students got a tendency to change their cell numbers quite frequently to make use of or to exploit some of the specials and bargains that are out there. But it caused difficulty because we disburse through the through the cell number. They also fill in the wrong course code. So all of those corrections make it very difficult, you know, to process smoothly. We have a toll-free number which I signed off and it's in operations. It's 08,000 NSFAS, so students can call in for free. They don't have data problems anymore to call us or to contact us. We will be strengthening our presence at the financial aid offices to assist students, and especially in the run-up to the opening of the 2019 season, application season, that will become more and more useful for students. We have a cooperation agreement with the National Youth Development Agency, so you could go there. And I also know that in the Western Cape that libraries have Wi-Fi, so we will encourage students to make use of those areas where there's assistance, and some of the other provinces as well. And we'll be putting out a communique on with regards to that. We have also issued pocket booklets for how to apply, and one cartoon strip that will be loaded onto our website. So we're trying to make the lives easier for our students so that they don't have to battle to get to their money. It's early days. We've had registered some success, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Our systems integration, data integrity, and things like that. But the amount of goodwill that is out there is just simply amazing. Everybody wants us to succeed. So
I have to ask, given the difficulties that have been experienced by students that caused the backlog at NSFAS, how is it then that in such a short space of time you've been able to move so speedily with regard to addressing a lot of that?
Well, look, first of all, I sought the cooperation of the universities, and so matching the university data to our data is much better and smoother, I think, and that assisted us to identify where payments needed to go, because we had the money. It's not that the money wasn't there. So that batching we were able to do very, very quickly, and I got some experts in to guide us. But like I caution the staff, we move rapid but not reckless, because once you do overpayments and things like that, you can run into trouble. So the data and the systemic issues we were able to fix very quickly. The deployment of our staff across the country also assisted. So there were, when we started on Monday, there were 68,000 students that had not signed their contracts. Last night when I left Cape Town, we brought it down to 50,000. So it's really, really hard work, slogging 24 hours a day, working through the night and get all of these things done. And students have responded positively. I think as students see the money gets released, more and more students will come forward and you know, authenticate their details and make sure that we have the right details. So it's partnerships. It's not us alone. It's partnerships with the students, with the SRC bodies, and with the universities.
So Minister Pandor was quite adamant that she wanted that backlog cleared before taking on the 2019 applications. So you say there are still some outstanding. How is this going to affect now the 2019 application season?
So I'm quite confident. In fact, she gave me 10 days. We did it in 8 days. But I'm quite confident that we have fixed a lot of the systemic issues that were in our control. And I think that gave her the assurance then to give us the go-away to prepare for 2019. Some of the issues that we need outside assistance, like students that need to come forward, we are ongoing with that. But I think the confidence that we gave the minister is when we told her that we will be dispersing from Thursday yesterday, and that's why we worked absolutely to make that deadline. And we actually overshot that. We were expected to cover it in 10,000 tranches, but yesterday we were able to release 30,000, which is, so the progress has been rapid, and that gave her the confidence. And of course, she also asked me to make sure that we maintain this trajectory, because she's exposing herself for opening up 2019 with not all the issues being resolved, but the assurances that we could give her were sufficient.
I think the main problem is that we find ourselves in situations where now we're at the end of August and you are still sorting out payment issues. How are we going to prevent this going forward? How are we going to prevent a situation whereby next year, this time, we're talking about the same issue?
Well, look, we're going to embed some of the initiatives that we have embarked upon. So we're going to strengthen our presence at universities. In fact, we're going to be part of the financial aid offices to solve problems as they are captured and not as they proceed through the system. Because fixing data problems at the end of the process is much more difficult than to fix it up front. So we hope that will assist. Secondly, we are looking at our data integration, that our systems, how they talk to the university. In fact, our systems, how they talk to each other at NSFAS and how they then talk to the institutions. We are fixing that as well. And then our data integrity, like I said, that needs to be fixed. I think it is the willingness to do things right the first time, as opposed to let them slip and then trying to catch up. I foresee a much better 2019 because we will not allow things to build up and to the nth degree. I think the reason why they built up was because we were throwing money at universities, and on NSFAS side we thought we were doing our job, but we didn't complete the job in the sense that we could give the remittances. So give the money to the universities and then also tell them it must go to the foreign students. So the latter part didn't happen very well, or in some cases not at all. So fixing that entire value chain is going to be the challenge for the next 2 or 3 months. But like I've indicated or intimated earlier, we are trying to make it easy for people to register or to apply, and minimizing the errors right up front. So yeah, it's early days, but I'm quite hopeful and comfortable.
Which begs the question, of course, that you are there now as an administrator. So what is the scope of your tenure here at NSFAS? And also, we know that the CEO has been suspended. So what is the future going forward for NSFAS?
So my job as administrator is to be there for the year, to put in place the necessary governance structures, to make sure that we appoint a board that's properly empowered, and to begin to look at capacitating it with management, with the right set of skills. And hopefully once I completed that, in a year's time I can go back to my old job and we'll see what happened then.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by, and of course we will call you back again should we get greater response from the students, if there are still problems, and please do indulge us to try and help. As you said, you're entering into partnerships. We're here to help you with that as well.
And what we will commit to, if you make mistakes, we will go back and fix it.
Absolutely. Dr. Carolissen, thanks so much for stopping by. And Dr. Randall Carolissen is, of course, the administrator at the National Student Financial Aid Scheme. And we will be keeping an eye on the developments there. The new application season opens on Monday. That's Monday, the 3rd of September for 2019 applications. So if you're a parent, if you're a student, prospective student sitting there, please, as Dr. Carolissen said, go and take a look at the guidelines that they have put out and try not to repeat the mistakes, because it's those mistakes as well that hamper the process. So we're going to leave it there for now.